This is our second video about Manto, mapping ancient narratives, territories, and objects, and in it we will explore the current public interface, which is right now being tested. It draws directly from the Manto database, which we described in detail in our first video. You can find out more on our website, manto-myth.org. This is our public interface for Manto, mapping ancient narratives, territories, and objects. You can get to it by going to manto.nodegoat.net. When you arrive, you will see this picture. It has two tabs on the left and a map on the right. The two tabs available are People, Places, and Objects, and second, Explore the Raw Data, and we'll go through each of these in turn. The first tab brings you to this default window, and it offers a comprehensive map. The current setting is based on Greece and Asia Minor, but you can zoom in and out, as you can see. Bringing you a wider view, you can also move with the cursor the map around. Now the first method of approaching our data is through the map itself. So let's take a look at the island of Skyros, and the map of course is interactive. Just click it. This takes you to what we call the file card, which organizes the data for you in several ways, including bringing you to the place through Pleiades, also offering other information such as the place where someone dies, in this case Theseus, the rulers, who conquers it, relics preserved on site, as well as other entities that are somehow related to this main object or entity in our database. Now let's click on the Map tab. When you do so, it brings up this map, not only bringing you the island of Skyros itself, but also two other dots on the map as well. And these are related places, which means that they have some kind of connection to the main location you search for, but you won't exactly know what the connection is from the map itself. You'll have to go look at the data itself. And you'll notice that both Troy and Athens are highlighted. We'll come back to this. Now let's click on the Data tab. And this brings you to all the data associated with the island of Skyros. And you can click on any one of these to bring up the whole tie. So for example, let's take a look at Apollodorus Epitome 511. And this brings you to all the data that is incorporated in that one tie. You can also just click the X to go back to the previous window, which will allow you to look at other information as well. On this page, you can also limit the data by entering other entities. So in this box, you'll have an opening, and you can type in, for example, Achilles. And this limits the data, and it narrows it down to all those places that Achilles has something to do with Skyros, including residing on it, conquering, traveling, and so on. Now we can also then go and type in Troy. You'll remember that that was one of the associated places that was on the map. And here you get this tie. You can click on that and find out how Troy is related to the island of Skyros. And in this case, Neoptolemus is brought from Skyros to Troy, bringing the two places together in their association. The second method to get to our data is to go to the search box beneath the two tabs and enter the entity that you're looking for. That can be a person, a place, or an object. And if you want to look for Skyros, for example, you can just enter that in, auto-populates, you click on it, and it takes you to the exact same file card that you had when you clicked on the map itself. But what if you're looking for something that can't be found on a map? You have to enter it into this box, and this is the way that you get to objects and entities directly. Let's take an object, for example. Let's take the sword of Aegis that has to do with Theseus. Notice when you type in the word sword, it auto-populates with any entity that has the word sword in it, and you can choose which one you want. We want the sword of Aegis. That brings us to the file card for the object, which organizes its data in various ways as well, including the related entities. If you want to find a map of the sword of Aegis, you click on Map, and it shows you the locations that are associated with that object, in this case Athens and Troezen, as you might imagine. If you want to find the data, again, just click on Data, and it comes up with the 10 different ties, and you can explore that at your leisure. We also have added a network tool, which here has basically two generations related to the object. In this case, you'll see that there are larger nodes such as Theseus or Athens, and you can play around with the network as you wish. Now, if we want to go back to data and we want to look at an individual passage, let's say Pausanias 1.27.8, you can click on that and look at the data itself. But let's assume that you also really want to go look at what Pausanias had to offer. You click on Pausanias, the passage, and it brings you to a link to the Scaife viewer, which will allow you to browse and take a look at the text to ensure that we have not somehow misled you. And this is a really great way to interact with the ancient material, and we hope that you'll find some interest in doing so. In the next little bit, we will take you through what you can do with the second tab. Now, if you just want to deal with the data itself and have more flexibility in how you search, you can click on the Explore the Raw Data tab. And in this way, you can limit the data similar to the other tab, but in this case, you can also name a specific text to limit the data by. So let's click it, and let's enter in the word Theseus. Again, it will populate, and you click on the icon with Theseus, and it brings you the 318 specific data points that have to do with Theseus. Now we can also add in a predicate. In this case, let's put kills. And it brings up the predicate and allows you to sort that. And we have 46 instances of this. But let's assume that you really aren't interested in all the places that Theseus does some killing, but only in the text of Plutarch. And so you can enter in Plutarch's Theseus and limit the data in that regard, and you bring up the 17 places in which that happens. Now, in this case, of course, you'll know that Theseus does a lot of it, but it also gives you this individual tie here, where Theseus is the object of the killing as well. So you'll have to look through the data yourself to make sure of the organization that each tie has. Now, we can also, for example, remove the text, and then let's go back and add a second entity. So this allows you to do some really cool Boolean searches. And I'm really interested in the ways in which Theseus and the sons of Pallas interact. And so I bring up the sons of Pallas, and we have here 46 entities, or ties, I should say, excuse me. And it gives you all that information. But you have to be very careful because this is an OR search, which gives you both Theseus and all the places in which the sons of Pallas exist. If you want to limit it, you have to click on the AND, which brings you down to the 4 ties in which Theseus is involved with the sons of Pallas, and as you guessed it, they're all involving Theseus killing them. In any case, this is really interesting and allows you to do a lot of interesting combinations of searches, including the text. Now you'll also notice an entry window in the top of this data. So I'm going to click off of the sons of Pallas and let it repopulate. And here you can also, for example, simply look for any set of information that you're looking for without using the bars on the left. So for example, you can type in Theseus here, and that will do the limiting down to 501. You can add kills. You can add Pallas. And this does a Boolean search that allows you to limit the data as you wish. I think that this exhausts what one can do right now, but we're really interested in your thoughts. And if you can play around with it for a little bit and give us some feedback, we'd be really grateful. So thank you for listening to this video, and we hope that you have a fine and wonderful day.